welcome to the Boys of Bass show.
Boys of Bass, the Basinators, the Basinations.
Our premiere episode, episode 1.
Episode 1 of a million.
And most of our topics we're going to be talking about is physical therapy, of course.
Therapy.
Kai, physical therapist for...
almost 2 years, 3 years now. 2 years, yeah, going on. And was a tech at Bass now from the last 10 or so, and now a therapist under Mr. Owner Tom Lyson.
Been a therapist for 25 years.
Yeah.
So our thoughts on this was to bring education, entertainment, and enlightenment to folks about physical therapy primarily, but also about fitness and health and wellness. There's so much information out there. So we're going to dive into some controversial things. We're going to dive into some things that are out there that are probably wrong.
Yeah, frowned upon.
You know?
And or popular but shouldn't be.
Correct.
Yeah. So what's first?
First, we're going to talk about finding a physical therapist. Probably one of my questions I get often asked. You know, when people are, hey, we're headed out of town, or do you know someone from my friend in South Carolina that's a physical therapist?
What's probably the most important thing you would say if someone's saying, like you said, what should they look out for?
So my number one question would be, ask the therapist if they deadlift.
No. Do you
deadlift?
Do you even lift, bro? Do you even lift?
Because if you don't lift,
yeah.
If you don't deadlift, which is a very functional, basic, fundamental movement,
yeah.
then you're probably not a good physical therapist. Matter of fact, Kai, I have a big problem with physical therapists that aren't physically fit.
That's how else do you tell somebody to do something if they're looking at you and like, let me see you do that, and you couldn't do it, even if it's a basic fundamental movement. For one, it's not embarrassing, but it's just like, you know, it's the pot calling the kettlebell. You need to be doing this, but I can tell you're not doing that, you know,
yeah,
and so
absolutely, yeah, it's hard to have the respect of patients if you're asking them to do exercise, but they don't exercise themselves. And I don't mean the therapist has to be a crazy, like, insane gym rat, high level CrossFit athlete, or super into ultra marathons, or this.
Right. But
a little bit of physical fitness would be very good. Helpful.
Just show something that you've gotten in the gym, something you've done, something you could talk about it, you understand people, because people want to know that they're related to. Like, hey, I get that. Yeah, you're going to be sore. I know what that feels like. Just something like, hey, I do this and I do this and I know how this makes me feel. So
right. And the thing is too is that, like, if I want to build a house and I go to study in school and I learn how to build a house, but I don't know how to use a hammer, I'm not going to be very good.
The fundamentals.
And here's the problem, man. Average therapy gets average patients, average results.
Facts.
And when we start looking at things like the bell curve, the law of averages, we find that, we look at the bell curve right here. If I draw the bell curve up real quick, at this median point right here, and the first standard deviation from 68% of people fall in average category.
Okay.
Right? If you go 2 standard deviations over, and then into the third, you've got 16% here on this side that are below average,
right,
and 16% that are above average. And the extremely good people that are 3 standard deviations make up 0.15%. So only 0.15% of the people out there in any profession, for that matter, are exceptional.
Exceptionally good or bad. Don't forget, you can be exceptional, but it goes on both sides. It goes both sides.
And hey, listen, we try to be on that end over there.
Yeah, very so.
That's what we want to be.
Yeah. So you got to be different. You got to be unique. You got to be true. I think that's what makes us very different, is that we follow like the things that are just undeniable, the laws of physics. Like, it's just what gravity is always going to make you go down. How your body reacts to things is going to react. Like, everybody's going to be different. You got to understand nothing could be cookie cutter, but there's certain foundations that we have to follow with each person and how we're diagnosed and how we're looking, and then we expand from there. So.
Yeah, and that's another point too, Kai. There's a big difference between knowing stuff and understanding stuff.
Yes.
And like, I know that when I push the gas pedal, something happens in the engine to make my car go,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't understand how that works.
Right.
And same thing with physical therapy. Yeah. There's a lot of therapists out there that know stuff,
Yep.
but don't fully understand it.
Right.
And maybe it's because they don't work out.
Yeah. No, and I think that plays a big role. And like I said, when we see patients, cause I'm not calling out any names of any other clinics, but we get a lot of patients from other clinics, and they're like, man, I did this and nothing ever helped, but now I come here and y'all are totally different. And I've had such a negative view of physical therapy and what I thought it was going to be and how it was going to go, and this is nothing the same. And I think you need that sometimes. And I'm not saying our way is the only way. I'm sure there's other ways to kind of, there's more than one way to skin a cat, but you got to understand there's some things you got to be more hands-on and more inputting on how people are feeling and how they're going to move in their bodies and how to move it correctly.
Well, that's the thing, Kai. In 25 years of doing this, average therapy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Average, almost 70% of people fall in average.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of split this way.
Yeah.
That what we thought it was average before, or trash therapy was before, was now kind of like average therapy.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And here's a couple things. Physical therapy without manual therapy.
Yeah.
I'm not talking just passive range of motion. That's not a skilled intervention.
Right.
We're talking joint mobilizations, soft tissue mobilizations. Physical therapy without manual therapy is just glorified personal training.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're just going to physical therapy and all you're doing is exercise, glorified personal training, you could look that up on the internet.
What is it? They have all those people all over there. Or YouTube, YouTube, all those places. You can have your own personal trainer on there anytime.
That's right. And over the years we've developed a process. And the process is very important. For any successful business or any kind of venture, you have to have a process in play. And so we have a very specific process that we use in the clinic. And it's based on our findings with the patient. Right? And we very much individualize the treatment program for the patient. But they follow a very particular process. It's not random. It's not random stuff.
We might deviate on what we do for each patient, but the way they're going through, matriculating through their treatment session every single time is through a specific and laid out process that each person, as you come in, you learn, and you're like, okay, and then we explain it. It's not just we do it and you say, all right, you just do it to do it. We explain why we do that process, which makes it just that much more salient for the patient, for them to, okay, I see why I'm doing that. And then you can because this stuff doesn't just apply here, you apply it outside when you leave therapy and say, hey, I'm gonna do this first as opposed to doing the opposite, because I know what the benefit of it is to do it in that order. So,
another thing that I think that makes a good therapist exceptional is that they don't treat pain.
No. Pain is subjective. Pain is a lie. Pain isn't real.
I know the patient's coming here because they're in pain, typically, right?
Yeah.
But that's a subjective experience like you talk about, right? So we don't necessarily treat pain. We don't treat images either.
No.
We don't treat x-rays and MRIs. There's nothing for us to do about that, right?
We treat it dysfunction impairment. What we see, what we can observe, what we can palpate. We go for that kind of stuff. But just for, hey, I'm hurting in my right hip right here, make this fix, or how people, it's almost like saying, hey, I want to lose weight right here. I can't treat you just to where you lose weight right here in your left lower trunk, Same thing as with pain. I can't treat it to where I'm just going to try to go, but I can cure a dysfunction that can relieve the pain that you're experiencing.
So really, Kai, I think that we're not just physical therapists, we're more movement specialists.
Yeah.
We understand how movement works, and we understand that the brain controls everything. So ultimately, the thing that we treat is the brain.
For sure.
The brain controls everything. It controls healing, it controls blood flow, pain, it controls how the muscles respond, what the joints are doing. Ultimately, we have to treat the brain.
Right.
I mean, we're an outpatient orthopedic clinic, but basically we treat neurologically.
Yeah, that's the computer. That's the one that's telling it what to do and what not to do, how to perceive things, and if you should perceive it at all. So that's the main game, your mainframe right there. And so how that presents and what that has been through, because like I said, sometimes pain doesn't necessarily happen because of what you've experienced physically. It could be an emotional thing. It can be many different variations of different things that kind of contribute to your pain. So get out of the mindset that when you go into physical therapy, they're there to treat your pain. They're treating a dysfunction or an impairment.
That leads to
pain.
Yeah.
That leads to pain.
Cool. So I think to wrap this thing up, things that make an average therapist a great therapist, or what you should be looking for when you're going to go to physical therapy would be a physically fit therapist.
Do you deadlift? Do you even lift, bro? Do you even lift?
I think you need to make sure that your therapist isn't going to treat your image, or your X-ray, your MRI report. I mean, there's nothing for us to do about that.
Right.
I think that they need to have a process in place. Right. It's just not random stuff. And ultimately, I think that when you're in the evaluation, with that patient, they have a really good understanding of what's going on and what we're going to do to treat it.
Yeah.
There's a lot about education there.
Yeah.
So if your therapist just brings you in, which I've heard this, oh, I had back pain, and oh, they just told me to do these exercises. Well, they didn't even assess you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you're not being assessed, I would run
Yeah.
out of the clinic.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? If they're just kind of, hey, you have back pain, okay, just do this bending backward thing.
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
Man, you got to run from that.
Yeah.
therapist.
Understand your why. Understand the why. So when someone have you do anything, it's okay to ask why. It's your body. Advocate for yourself. So if you're in there and they're having you do something, you're like, man, this has nothing. Sometimes we do stuff and the patient will look at us like, what does this have to do with my hip? Or what does it have to do with my? And we are able to explain why we're doing things and how the fascial connections and how these things correlate with one another. But if your therapist is telling you to do something that when they haven't assessed you and they're just telling you to do it because of whatever symptom you told them you had, reassess that. Reassess if you need to be in that clinic, because they should be able to tell you in a way that you understand of why they're doing whatever they are doing to you, for you.
So I think that you just gotta stay away from average. I didn't wake up this morning and say, hey, I wanna be average. I wanna be okay. I'm gonna be all right. Be great.
I love it.
Be great, man. I'm gonna dominate. Rip through life like a hurricane, man. That's what we're doing.
Living la vida loca, getting crazy with the cheese whiz.
That's what we're gonna do as the boys of base here too. We're gonna be
That's it.
tearing through life, bringing some things to light, exploring controversial topics in physical therapy and fitness. So looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, so tune in, keep us updated. We'll keep you updated on and any fun activities and ideas we have for you. We look forward to getting to know everybody on our follows.
Until next time, go out, live, work, and play better in your body. Peace out.